Am I a complete joke to you?
Define complete.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Church of Hella, Hella Greg Live, part of the Super Network. I am Greg. Find me everywhere at Hella Greg or at hellagreg.com for all of your Church of Hella needs. Tonight, I have Jesse with me.
Getting real tight on that intro.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Really trying.
Really sounds good, man. You got it.
Welcome to the Serial Chillers podcast.
Nice.
Each week I sit down with old friends, new friends, good friends, and bad friends to discuss
the story of an infamous serial killer.
Thank you.
I didn't know that I still had it.
Hello, Greg.
Oh.
I've got it. So what's up, dude?
Not a man. I think just like you, I'm hella tired this week.
Yeah, dude.
But I'm very excited about...
thanks for the host, Slammy. I appreciate you, dog.
Slammy DeVito up in this bitch. I'm very excited about this content.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What is it that excites you?
I like video games. I like video games, creepypastas, and in general spooky shit.
Okay.
I like it a spooky spaghetti. Do you like that Phantom Farfly?
I do. We're having ourselves we're gonna have ourselves a nice feast of the creepypasta. Let everybody know where they can find you because you're out there doing the thing.
Yeah. I am Cromulent Jesse on Twitch.
Yeah.
Wait, how did I do this again?
At Cromulent Jesse.
On Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram.
Yeah.
And then perfectlycromulentjesse.com.
Boom. Hey, watcher. Welcome, dude. And welcome to your girlfriend. I sent your stuff out. Hey, VRM, what's up? I sent your stuff out yesterday. It went out in the mail, so you should be getting it. So, be excited.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and, because I'm excited about the content tonight too, so I'm going to skip over all the formalities. You guys know how Twitch works. You can do the commands in there. I'm just going to skip over all that stuff. You'll figure that stuff out.
You got moderators for a reason.
Yeah, totally. So today we're going to talk about video game urban legends. I have a few here. Some of them are creepypasta. Some of them are potentially true. Some of them I have my own kind of take on that I didn't really see while I was looking this stuff up. This was inspired by the Watcher. He told me about this game called Polybius. Polybius. I don't know why I blanked. English isn't my first language.
How you say?
So he told me about this game Polybius and how it was like a government mind control experiment. And of course, I'm like, oh, really? How have I never heard of this?
Say less, fam.
Yeah. So I'm all over it. So I've spent the last, probably 72 hours frantically searching video game urban legends and stuff like that. So I'm in it deep right now, and I'm excited. So again, I'm going to skip over all the formalities in the beginning. We're going to get right to it. I'm going to start with a creepypasta because I want to save Polybius. I want because it's like it's like the extra special cherry on the top of the sundae that is this creepypasta show. So.
Is the cherry the best part?
It's your favorite part. It's not the cherry may not be your favorite part, but Polybius is your favorite part of the smorgasbord.
Okay, whatever your favorite part is, that is Polybius.
Correct.
And that was just caught me, like, cause it's a common phrase, like this is the cherry on top. I'm like, yeah, the cherry's good, but I just like eat it and
move on.
There's so much delicious shit under it.
Yeah,
it's almost in my way.
The stupid stem and everything. So this one is a creepypasta. Excuse me. This one's a creepypasta.
Spooky spaghetti.
This one's called Ben Drowned. For those of you who have heard it, please enjoy it again. For those of you who have not heard it, the whole background of this was that this guy was posting it on 4chan, I believe. Like updating it as
Was it a no sleep or
no? It was a thread, and he was posting it as
reality
as it happened.
Okay.
So he was including pictures. He had pictures of the cartridge with no label on it, with no artwork. Because basically what it was. So I'll get to it. But he had photographic proof to back up everything that he was posting in the thread.
Okay.
So It says, recently I moved into my dorm starting as a sophomore in college, and a friend of mine gave me his old Nintendo 64 to play. I was stoked, to say the least. I could finally play all those old games of my youth that I hadn't touched in at least a decade. His Nintendo 64 came with one yellow controller and a rather shoddy copy of Super Smash Bros. And while beggars can't be choosers, it didn't take long before I got bored of beating up level 9 CPUs. That weekend, I decided to drive around a few neighborhoods about 20 minutes or so off campus, hitting up the garage sales. I was hoping to score some good deals from ignorant parents. I ended up picking up a copy of Pokemon Stadium, GoldenEye, F-Zero, and 2 controllers for $2. Satisfied, I began to drive out of my neighborhood when one last house caught my attention. I have no idea why it did. There were no cars there, and only one table was set up with random junk on it. However, something sort of drew me there. I usually trust my gut on these things, so I got out of the car and was greeted by an old man. His outward appearance was, for lack of a better word, displeasing. It was odd, if you ask me, and if you asked me why I thought he looked displeasing, I couldn't really pinpoint anything. There was just something about him that put me on edge. I can't explain it. All I can tell you is that it wasn't in the middle of the afternoon, and there were... I'm sorry. All I can tell you is that if it wasn't in the middle of the afternoon and there weren't other people within shouting distance, I wouldn't have even thought of approaching this man. He flashed a crooked smile at me and asked what I was looking for. Immediately, I noticed he must have been blind in one eye. His right eye had that glazed over look about it. I forced myself to look at his left eye, trying not to offend, and asked if he had any old video games. I was already wondering how I could politely excuse myself from the situation when he would tell me he had no idea what a video game was. But to my surprise, he had a few in an old box. He assured me he'd be back in a jiffy and turned it to head back into the garage. As I watched him hobble away, I couldn't help but notice what he was selling on his table. Littered across his table were rather peculiar paintings, various artworks that looked like ink blots a psychiatrist might show you. Curious, I looked through them. It was obvious why no one was visiting this guy's garage sale. These weren't exactly aesthetically pleasing. As I came to the last one, I noticed it looked almost like Majora's Mask, with the same heart-shaped body with the little spikes protruding outward. Initially, I thought that since I was secretly hoping to find that game at these garage sales, some Freudian bullshit was projecting itself into the ink blots. However, given the events that happened after, I'm not so sure now. I should have asked the man about it. I wish I'd asked the man about it. After staring at the Majora-shaped blot, I looked up to the old man who was suddenly there again, arm's length in front of me, smiling. I'll admit, I jumped out of reflex and laughed nervously as he handed me a Nintendo 64 cartridge. It was the standard gray color and had no label. Someone had written Majora on it in black permanent marker. I got butterflies in my stomach when I realized what a coincidence it was and asked the old man how much he wanted for it. So, hold on. There is a picture of this cartridge.
So as this guy's updating this story, he's also giving you photos for added reality to the situation.
Right. So there's photographic proof of the things that he's showing. Burp. There. And that. This cartridge.
Why does it have to be written just as creepily as possible?
Because it was made by somebody who made ink blot pictures of the cartridge.
You're not wrong.
If anybody else if the person who wrote it on there didn't make ink blot pictures of it, it would probably be just normal.
Fair.
So that's what the cartridge looks like. Now let me see.
That image farthest to the right on the second row creeps me out. I've seen it a couple times.
This one?
No.
Oh, farthest to the right.
Yeah,
this one?
Yep.
That's not even that's like fan art.
No, I know, but it gets attached to a lot of the articles and stuff because it's probably one of the creepier.
It's one of the easier ones to find.
Yeah. So I've seen that. A lot.
So, the old man smiled and told me I could have it for free. He said it used to belong to a kid around my age that didn't live here anymore. There was something weird about how he phrased that, but I didn't really pay any attention to it. I was too caught up in not only finding the game, but getting it for free. I reminded myself to be a bit skeptical since this looked like a pretty shady cartridge and there was no guarantee it would work. However, the optimist inside me interjected that maybe it was some kind of beta or pirated version of the game. That was all I needed to be back on Cloud 9. I thanked the man who smiled and wished me well, saying goodbye then, which at the time is what it sounded like to me all the way on the car ride home. I had a nagging doubt that the man had said something else. My fears were confirmed when I booted up the game. To my surprise, it worked just fine, and there was one save file simply named Ben. The man was saying, "Goodbye, Ben." I felt bad for him. He was obviously a grandparent going senile. I, for some reason or another, reminded him of his grandson, Ben. Out of curiosity, I looked at the save file. I could tell it was pretty far in the game. He had almost all of the masks and 3 out of 4 bosses remains. I noticed he'd used an owl statue to save his game. He was on day 3 by the Stone Tower Temple with hardly an hour before the moon would crash. I remember thinking it was a shame he'd come so close to beating the game but never finished it. I made a new file named Link out of tradition and started the game. I was ready to relive my childhood. For such a shady-looking cartridge, I was impressed at how smoothly it ran. Literally just like a retail copy of the game, save for a few minor hiccups here and there, textures being where they should be, random flashes of cutscenes at odd intervals, nothing too bad. However, the only thing that was a little unnerving was that at times NPCs would call me Link and call me Ben at other times. I figured it was a bug, maybe a fluke in the programming that caused our save files to get mixed up or something. It did kind of creep me out after a while, though. Around the time I would beat Woodfall Temple, I regrettably erased the Ben file. I had intended to preserve the file out of respect for the game's original owner. It's not like I needed 2 files anyway. I hoped that would solve the problem. It did and didn't. Now NPCs wouldn't call me anything. Where my name should be in the dialogue was a blank space. My save file was still called Link, however. Frustrated and with homework to do, I put the game down for a day. I started playing the game again last night, getting the Lens of Truth and working my way toward completing Snowhead Temple. For some of you more hardcore Majora's Mask players know about the 4th day glitch. For those who don't, you can Google it. The gist is that right as the clock is about to hit 000000 on the final day, you talk to the astronomer and look through the telescope. If you exit the telescope just as the timer hits all zeros, the countdown disappears and you essentially have an endless amount of time to finish whatever you were doing. Deciding to do the glitch and try to finish Snowhead Temple, I went ahead and tried. I happened to get it right on the first time and the counter at the bottom disappeared. When I exited the telescope, I found myself in the Majora's boss room at the end of the game, the trippy boxed-in area, staring at Skull Kid hovering above me. There was no sound, just him floating in the air above me and the background music, which was regular for the area, but still creepy. Immediately, my palms began to sweat. This was definitely not normal. Skull Kid never appeared here. I tried moving around the area, and no matter where I went, Skull Kid would always be facing me, not saying anything. Nothing would happen, and this kept up for around 60 seconds. I thought the game was bugged or something, but I was beginning to doubt that very much. I was about to reach for the reset button when text appeared on the screen. You're not sure why, but you apparently had a reservation. I instantly recognized that text. You get that message when you get the room key for Anju at the Stockpot Inn. Why was it playing here? Hell no. Yeah, felt that, dude. Hold on, let me see if I can find the gameplay. So now that we're getting into like the creepy stuff, I'm gonna put some of the gameplay up. This is from this guy's channel, so feel free to like give him all the credit in the world for this. So the little swirl like that is you can't see it.
Oh yeah.
So there we go. So the music is playing backwards right now, in fact. So, to even think that someone could reprogram the game like this was absurd. Sure enough, though, another message appeared on the screen 15 seconds later. Like the first one, it was already a pre-existing phrase. Go to the lair of the temple's boss, yes or no? I paused for a second, contemplating what I should press and how the game would react. When I realized I couldn't select no, taking a deep breath, I pressed yes, and the screen faded to white, with the words dawn of a new day and the subtext a bunch of straight lines beneath it. Where I was transported to filled me with the most intense sense of dread and the impending fear I've never experienced. The only way I can describe the way I felt here is having feeling of inexplicable depression on a profound scale. I'm not normally a depressed person, but the way I felt here was a feeling even I didn't know existed. Just such a twisted, powerful presence that seemed to wash right over me. I appeared in some kind of weird Twilight Zone version of Clocktown. I walked out the clock tower as you normally do, only to find all the inhabitants were gone. Usually with the 4th day glitch, you can still find the guards and the dog that run around outside the tower, but they were all gone. What replaced them was the ominous feeling there was something out there in the same area as me, and it was watching me. I had 4 hearts on my name and the hero's bow, but at this point I wasn't even considering for my avatar. I felt that I was personally in some kind of danger.
And so right now, because I've never played this game.
Yeah.
Is this thing supposed to be just appearing everywhere he is? Or
statue?
Is this... Yeah.
No.
Okay, so this thing's following him.
Yes.
Okay. So this is right where you're at, going back out to Clocktown?
More or less, yeah.
Okay.
Perhaps the most chilling thing was the music. It was the Song of Healing, ripped straight from the game and played in reverse. The music would get louder, building up, so you should expect something to pop out at you, but nothing ever did. and the constant loop began to wear on my mental state.
Oh, there's the dawn of a new day.
Perhaps the most, every now and then I would hear a faint laugh of the happy mask salesman in the background. Just quiet enough I wasn't sure if I was hearing things, but just loud enough to keep me determined to find him. I looked in all 4 zones of Clocktown, only to find nothing, and no one. Textures were missing too. West Clocktown had me walking on air, and the entire area felt broken. Hopelessly broken. So I'm just behind where we were in the video.
Okay.
As the reverse song of healing repeated for what must have been the 50th time, I remember standing in the middle of South Clocktown, realizing that I never felt so alone in a video game before. As I walked through the ghost town, I didn't know whether it was the combination of out-of-place textures, the atmosphere, or the haunting melody of the once peaceful and soothing song butchered and distorted. But I was literally on the verge of tears, and I had no idea why. I hardly ever cry, but something had gripped me here and caused this powerful sense of depression that was both foreign and crippling. I tried leaving Clocktown, but every time I went through one of the exits, the screen would fade to black, and I would enter another zone of Clocktown. I tried playing my flute, only I wanted to escape. I did not want to be here. However, every time I played the Song of Time or the Song of Soaring, it would only say, "Your notes echo far, but nothing happens." By this point, it was obvious the game didn't want me to leave, but I had no idea why. It was keeping me here, and I didn't want to go inside buildings. I felt it would be too vulnerable to do whatever I was terrified of. I didn't know why, but I came up with the idea that if I drowned myself at the laundry pool, I could spawn elsewhere and leave. As I ran towards the pool, it happened. Link grabbed his head on the screen, and the screen flashed for a brief moment of the happy mask salesman smiling at me. Not Link, but me, with the Skull Kid scream playing in the background. When the screen returned, I was staring at the Link statue usually created by playing the Elegy of Emptiness. I screamed as the thing stared back at me.
Go to Fiverr.com and find a programmer in seconds.
Mid-roll, you pieces of shit.
Right? What fucking monsters. By this point, I was on the verge of hysterics. Not even once did the thought of turning off the console occur to me. I don't know why, but I was so wrapped up in it. The terror felt so real. I tried to shake the statue, but it would literally appear right behind me every single time I went off screen. Link started to make weird animations I'd never seen him do. He would flail his arms around and spasm randomly. The screen would cut to the happy mask salesman smiling again for a brief moment before I was face to face with that statue again. I ended up running into the Swordmaster's dojo and ran back. I don't know why, but in my panic, I wanted some kind of assurance I wasn't alone. To my dismay, I found no one. As I turned to leave, the statue cornered me in the cubbyhole in the back. I tried attacking the statue with my sword, but to no avail. Confused and backed into a corner, I stared at the statue and waited for it to kill me. Suddenly, the screen flashed again to the happy mask salesman, and Link turned to face me, standing upright as a mirror image of the statue and looking at me with his copy, literally staring at me. Whatever was left of the fourth wall completely shattered while I ran out of the dojo terrified. Suddenly, the game warped me to an underground tunnel. The reverse song of healing queued up again as I was given a brief moment of rest before the statue started appearing again, this time aggressively. I could only take a few steps before it would be summoned behind me again. I hurriedly made my way out of the tunnel and appeared in southern Clocktown as I ran aimlessly in sheer panic. A re-dead suddenly screamed and the screen faded to black. Dawn of a new day appeared again. The screen faded away and I was standing atop the clock tower with Skull Kid hovering over me again, silent. I looked up at the moon was back, looming just meters above my head, but Skull Kid stared at me hauntingly with that creepy mask. A new song was playing. The Stone Tower Temple theme played in reverse. In some sort of desperate attempt, I equipped my bow and fired off a shot at Skull Kid. It actually hit him, and he played an animation of him reeling back. I fired again, and on the third arrow, a text box appeared that said, "That won't do you any good, hee hee." I was picked up off the ground, levitated upwards on my back, and Link screamed as he burst into flames, instantly killing him. I jumped when this happened. I'd never seen this move used by anyone in the game, and in addition, Skull Kid didn't even have any moves. As the dead scene played, my lifeless body still burning, the Skull Kid laughed and the screen faded to black. I reappeared in the same place and decided to charge him, but the same thing happened. Link's body was lifted off the ground by some unknown force and burst into flames, again killing him. This time during the death scene, the faint sounds of the reverse song of healing could be heard. Damn, this thing's long. I forgot about well, I'm almost done. On my third and final try, I noticed there was no music playing. All there was eerie silence. I remembered that in the original encounter with Skull Kid, you were supposed to use the flute to either travel back in time or summon the giants. I attempted to play the Song of Time, but before I could hit the last note, Link's body once again burst into flames and he died. As the death scene neared its end, the game began to chug. It was as if the cartridge was trying to process a lot of something. When the scream came to, it was the same scene as the first 3 times, except Link was laying on the ground, dead in a position I had never seen in the game before. His head was tilted towards the camera and Skull Kid was floating above him. I couldn't move or press any buttons. All I could do was stare at Link's body. After around 30 seconds of this, the game faded out with the message, "You've been met with a terrible fate, haven't you?" before kicking me to the title screen. Upon getting back to the title screen and starting again, I noticed my save file was gone. Instead of Link was Your Turn. Your Turn had 3 hearts and no masks or items. I selected this file and was returned to the clock tower rooftop scene of Link dead and the Skull Kid hovering over, with Skull Kid's laugh looping again and again. I quickly hit reset, and when the game booted up again, there was one more save file, added below Your Turn. Ben. That's right, the save file was back where it was before I deleted it, at the Stone Tower Temple with the moon almost crashing. I turned the game off at that point. I'm not superstitious, but this is way too screwed up, even for me. I haven't played it all day today. I didn't even get any sleep last night. I kept hearing the reverse song of healing in my head, and couldn't get past the sense of dread I felt while exploring Clocktown. I drove back to the old man's house today with a buddy of mine. No way I was going there alone. I went to ask him some questions only to find a for sale sign in the front yard, and when I rang the doorbell, no one was home. So now I'm back here writing down the rest of my thoughts and recording what happened. Sorry if some of this has grammatical errors and whatnot. I'm running on no sleep. So that's pretty much the gist of Ben. That's Ben Drown. Because there's another, so it actually continues. There's another part where he goes into the water and drowns as Link. Mm-hmm. Like there's like I can't remember, like it's like a amphibious version of Link. And he goes into the water and the statue's down there and he's like facing the statue and like the mask salesman's down there and he's like facing them, and then a bunch of bubbles come up and he drops and it does the same thing and takes him back to the menu and everything, and it says Ben Drowned is the next save file. And so like that's where Ben Drowned came from, because it was that's the next save file that was created out of that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of messed up. I mean, that's the story. That's the video that goes along with it. You can totally, this one's like 45 minutes long, so you can, like, I was watching it earlier today, just like so creeped out by it.
I was creeped out. I got goosebumps a couple times just watching that creepy shit.
I was gonna say, there's nothing that's like particularly creepy about it. It's just, like he said, it's a weird feeling that's associated with it. Well, this is messed up. What do you got? Trust me, it was good. There's an old lady inside the toilet at the inn.
Like her hand comes out of the toilet wanting something. Can you show a video of that?
If I could find it, yeah, I'll look for. Remind me towards the end, and I'll look for a video of it. Because I'll forget.
Or find it for us, Cactus.
Yeah, there you go. Find it. Link for or ad free, and post it in the chat. So that was Ben Drowned. That one's creepy. I mean, I like a good creepypasta. That one's creepy. Yeah. I enjoyed it. This next one is called Pale Luna. I don't know how many people were PC gamers back in the day. I don't know how many people are PC gamers now.
I played a few text-based games. I was never very good at them because I was very young, so I wasn't like creative enough to come up with like things to type in. But I played a few unsuccessfully.
So like I remember being a little kid and playing Doom.
Yeah.
And like,
IDDQD, IDKFA.
Yeah, like all the just all the old PC games like that. Like I remember playing those. Yeah. And I fucked at Minesweeper.
Nice.
But there was a text-based game called Pale Luna. I have some gameplay footage of that. Let me see if I can. Yep. Well, here, let's do this first. Get these out of here, and then put this over here like so, and do that, and then press this, and boom, Pale Luna. This is what it looks like. Fucking
graphics are amazing.
Well, I mean, look at the time frame. So basically, you put commands into this game. It starts. It says. You're in a dark room. Moonlight shines through the window. There's gold in the corner, along with a shovel and a rope. There's a door to the east. Command. And that's how you play through this game. Oh, changing the lights to blue.
To match the screen.
That should do it. That looks blue.
That'll do.
That'll blue.
Oh. Missed opportunity.
So that's how this game is played. So you have to like... It says you can see a door here, so you have to say what you want to do. Command go.
Right. Jiggle the door handle. Like,
right.
Check the door.
Right.
Yeah.
So
grab the gold.
Yeah. So
use the shovel to dig.
Pick up shovel. So basically, you go through and you do these commands, and it leads you through. It leads you through a whole forest and everything. And basically, you pick up the shovel, you pick up the rope, you pick up the gold, and you go out into the forest. And you're walking around through the forest, and it tells you, jiggle the bro knob, and it tells you which way to go and how to get there and everything. And what it'll do, it'll be like you come to a junction. There's a path to the north, east, and west. Command, and you're like, go north. So the problem with this game was every time you got a command wrong, like if you input the wrong command, it would freeze your system and cause you to have to reboot the entire system. Like you'd have to shut down your computer and restart the whole thing. So not a lot of people played it because you would get 2 commands in and fuck it up.
Yeah.
If you got lucky on the first command. I never did. I was always stupid with that shit. I was bad at that.
Yeah, same.
So you if you got it wrong, it would cause you to have to multiple reboots to even get out of the first room. And some guys had the dedication, they got to it, but where most people got caught up, the ones who actually kept on it and kept playing. Yeah, Oregon Trail sucked. That was I
liked Oregon Trail.
I had fun with it. But what happened was these guys what it does is it leads you out to a thing, and again it tells you trail to the north, east, and west, command, and so you say go north, and it's wrong, so you restart your whole system.
You got dysentery.
Yeah, go east, it's wrong, restart your whole system. Go west, it's wrong, restart your whole system. Go back, it's wrong. And every time you got something right, it would say, Pale Luna smiles at you. And so when you open the door, Pale Luna smiles at you. You step outside, blah, blah, blah. You see a pathway. Command. Follow the pathway. Pale Luna smiles at you. And so on. And so everything started like that.
Sounds like a weird cult thing.
Manifest destiny. I always hear Stewie yelling that. When he was all jacked up on speed, driving the RV through the desert.
Nothing, just some stuff I got from a truck driver at the last stop.
He took some pills from a truck driver. Manifest destiny. Just bleeding from the nose. So yeah, it would say Pale Luna smiles at you, and then tell you the next part, and then ask for your command. And again, you fuck it up, you gotta
restart the whole thing.
Reboot the whole system. So it culminates. Most people never got this far, but the people who did get this far got stuck at this one because there was nothing you could do. But it would say, Pale Luna smiles at you. The moon is bright. The ground is soft. Command.
Dig.
Dig did nothing, so you had to reboot your system. I mean,
stand there.
Yeah. So that's how it. It was. So what it was the command was. Let's see where it said Pale Luna smiles wide. The ground is soft. Command, and the command was dig hole _ drop gold _ fill hole. And that was the last command of the game. So leading up to that, when you tried to say command use gold, it would say not here. And then when you tried to say use shovel, it would say not now. And when you said use rope, it said the rope is already in use. But it never told you what the rope was being used for. So it was all real cryptic with the whole thing.
Yeah.
So again, it said, Pale Luna smiles wide, the ground is soft. Command. So you input everything, Pale Luna smiles wide. Congratulations. And then it gives you a set of coordinates. Well, it didn't. It just gave you numbers.
Yeah.
Didn't tell you what they were, didn't tell you what they're for. The one person who finished this game, who actually saw it through to the end and went through all the system reboots and figured out that they were coordinates. He put them into whatever his search engine was in 1991 or whatever this was. And it came up with Lassen Volcanic Park, which we looked up, and it's up north.
Mineral, California.
Mineral, California.
Also, Cactus says you owe him a robe wear from yesterday.
Ooh, you're right. Yeah, I did say remind me today. So I'll get you the robes in just a minute. Let me finish Pale Luna, and then I'll do it.
Yeah, so this is just a national park up in nowhere, Northern California.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty. It's not the middle of nowhere, but it's
right next.
It's close
to the
as it gets.
It's just off center of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so this guy, he took a shovel, he took a rope, and he took a compass and hit the road, Jack, and he went up to Mineral, California, and I think he was from San Diego. I think that's where I got it.
Okay.
But
it's quite a drive.
Yeah, so he drove the entire state of California.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like a 14-hour drive he put in
to find what he thought were maybe coordinates that he got from the end of a video game that was probably the most frustrating game he's ever played, aside from probably Madden.
This guy's fucking dedicated.
So he gets there and he notices as he's going through, trying to get to these coordinates, the pathway that he takes is very similar, if not exact, to what he took in the game. You reach the trailhead, you go right, you do this, you do that. And so all that stuff was, if not exactly lining up, approximately lining up with what
it was close enough to be noticeable, and
it was close enough for him to get to those coordinates and be excited about digging because there's gold there. Everything else is
he left it in the video game.
Everything else is there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Everything else is there. Everything else is lined up. So he gets there. Everything matches. He digs in the spot. And unfortunately, what he found was the head of an 11-year-old girl with no body. No body was ever found. That was nobody knows who made Pale Luna. There's no credits.
Just a head.
Yeah.
The head made Pale Luna.
Yeah, I mean, I don't it was. It looked like this. You know what I mean? It was not like it was a super creative game.
Was there not a picture at the end? I thought I remember in maybe the creepypasta says at the end there's a crude.
I don't remember seeing anything. Well, here let's.
So many texts.
Yeah, congratulations.
With coordinates.
So, I mean, that's a nice that one I think is also probably somewhat of a creepypasta, if not just a direct just a full on fabrication played off of maybe inspired by real events.
I believe wasn't it on the official wiki?
I think so.
I think Pale Luna and
Ben Drown
were both on official creepypasta wiki.
Yeah,
that doesn't make them not good. It just makes them not real.
Right. Well, maybe inspired by real events.
There we go. Fair enough.
That's what I try to think of. Here,
I'm
going to put the camera on Jesse while I get into costume for Cactus.
Hello.
I don't even remember what I'm supposed to preach on.
Well, I'm sure he can remind you. Cactus will have to remind about what he's got to preach on, but I'm sure it'll be good. Oh, man. Video game legends
they're fun, dude.
They are fun. It seems to be a world rife with creepypastas. That seems to be the real situation. Well, except for the ones that aren't fun,
in a world where nothing's real. Why does the lore have to be real?
Like the E.T. landfill?
Yeah, the E.T. landfill, I like.
That was the first one I thought of when you were like, we're going to do video game urban legends. It's well, dude, I've got one.
E.T. landfill's real, though.
Yeah.
That exists.
I didn't know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm supposed to preach on.
Please clap.
Cactus, but I'll tell you what.
Please clap.
Please clap. I'll yes, clap. I think it was gang stalking. That's what he wanted. Gang stalking, and it's bad. The only gang you should stalk is your own gang, and not for nefarious purposes.
The homies.
Yeah, but only to make sure that only to make sure that they're doing well. Like Louis C.K. said, never look in somebody else's. Hey, you mind if I do this? No, that's not what Louis C.K. said. I mean, it is, but that's not what I was talking about. Like Louis C.K. said, never look in your neighbor's bowl to see how much they have. Only look to see if they have enough. Right. And I can appreciate that.
He said gangbang or gang stock.
Gangbang or gang stock. Gangbang, you know what? If you're going to do it, make sure it's all consensual. And, nothing wrong with consensual adults being consensual adults. Thank you.
This has been my pastoral moment. Oh, this is the end of the sermon. You can now begin shaking hands with your neighbor.
Please clap.
Churches condone gangbangs?
Please clap. Yeah, how many churches do condone bang gangs?
Bang gangs.
Well, we've got a bang gang and a gang bang. Gang bangs Friday, bang gang Sunday. Check us out.
A lot of the same crossover.
The Venn diagram's small here in the church.
The Venn diagram is a circle. All right. The more you know. All right. So the next one I have is shoot the J, shoot it. All right. Got you from here. There's the hoop. Oh man.
I didn't look. I got too nervous.
No. That was probably the closest yet.
Oh, yep. There, I saw it there.
Yeah, closest yet. So the next game I have is
I got to dunk it.
Go ahead. I believe it's right behind you. Make it happen. Wait, hold on. This will only be for the people who can hear the stream, not you. Yep. Defense. Go back for it. He's going back for it. He's not staying down. Oh my God. Rough night.
Yeah. I can't believe I hit the fucking ceiling. I jumped too high, bro.
Too much hops.
He said he missed. Yeah, bro. We never said we were good at this. Just that we would do it. Oh. All right, Eddie. I have your address.
Yeah. Ooh, ding ding. Wait, hold on.
No, we can't, bro. You should see how I fucking slashed the lane and hit reverses in everybody's face, though, Cactus. Put me on real court. I feel like an asshole.
All right. So the next one
My boys shoot mid-range, just for the
and post up.
Just for the record.
So the next one, Killswitch. This one I think is cool because this game actually existed. It's called Killswitch. What?
No.
Oh, I thought you had something.
Nope.
1989. It was created by Carvina Games, which is a little subtle nod here. Eddie, I got this for you. How's that?
Does it exist here as a sound cue?
Probably. Okay. I think it's in the loyalty store.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be funny if it didn't. I hope it's not, but
I give up.
So it was created by Carvina Games, and probably a little tip of the hat to the Russian town of the same name, known for coal mining.
Okay.
So you have the option in the game to play as two different characters. You can play as Porto. Excuse me. You can play as Porto. That's the one everybody picks. It's a little girl, not like a little girl like a child, but like just little because she's on a TV screen. But it's a pixelated lady, and she moves through the levels. She seems to kind of grow and shrink at random, for like no real reason. She'll just like get
some Alice in Wonderland shit.
Yeah, she'll get small, and then she'll for whatever reason she'll grow so big that she can't actually fit through the doorway to the next level, you know? In fact, I have gameplay of this.
Yeah.
So there's another. What I have here is I'm going to show you this. This is gameplay of the second character. There's two characters. That was Porto. The other player's name is Gast. He's invisible, so you can't see him. He doesn't, like, you can't see him on the screen, making it almost impossible to play as him.
And it's like he's like hard to maneuver anyway, from what I understand.
Well,
like the controls to maneuver him aren't
right. It's tough to gauge where things are, because even though it's the background that moves, like you could probably put a sticker on the screen as a player model and move, but it makes it tough to gauge things when you aren't seeing it for sure. Right. Like if there's if you land and keep moving, or if you don't, like it makes it tough. So what you'll see here is this guy attempting to play as Gast. Like that. So he kills the first guy. So Gast actually has he has a fireball attack and a poison gas attack, but once they're spent, they're spent. So you can't like keep using them. Like once you're out of ammo, you're out.
Yeah.
Here. Get you some of that weird music in the background. So this guy's trying to play as Gast. Yeah. I'm actually going to turn that down because that's awful.
I couldn't hear it.
Oh, it was real high pitched.
Okay.
So you wake up in a coal mine.
I've lost those tones. I'm aging.
So you wake up in a coal mine. See the connection from before, from the town and the game company and all that. Okay, so everything's in black and white, obviously, except worker blood, and then there's coats that some of the other workers wear. And you have to solve a complex series of riddles and puzzles to get out of the mine. So you have to collect parts to a tape recorder, which reveals that basically the fires of hell rose up to defend themselves against the people in the mine or something. And so you're fighting against these people in the mine who've been possessed by the fires of hell, and you're trying to get out. And like they make you work, and if you work too slow or stop or whatever, they like stab you in the joints with knives. And like it seems like a pretty harsh critique of the Soviet era manufacturing practices. You know what I mean? Like it seems like somebody was like, fuck this.
I want to see gameplay as Porto. Is there not?
There probably is. So the deal with this, though, what makes this game so cool is because what you're seeing here is not actual gameplay. It's not from the game.
All right.
This is a recreation of the game. The actual game is the actual original copies are very hard to find, and the ones that you can find are very expensive and likely won't run on modern computers. What's it called? Here we go. Killswitch, Porto.
One time, too, when he killed the first guy, it said, "Find the truth" on the screen, and the other times it didn't.
Yeah.
Which I found weird.
Oops. God damn it. Why is this not working?
Damn it, Bobby.
Yeah, what gives?
Okay.
So that's gameplay as Porto. So they only sold 5,000 copies of this game. Like they only produced 5,000 copies.
Yeah.
And the biggest deal about it was after you completed the game, it self-destructed. It nuked. So it deleted itself completely off of your hard drive. All traces of it, there was like nothing.
Huh.
Yeah. Which is really weird. I mean, it's a cool feature, but for the time, for 1989, very likely impossible to have on a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that would be something that would be reserved for like military secrets.
Yeah, I would have no idea.
Sus. Yeah, pretty much.
You think not seeing him as a bug made on purpose to make sure it frustrates people? If it's made on purpose, it's not a bug. It's not a bug. It's a feature.
Right. Well, and I don't know that it would like. I think it's more that it's like playing on hard mode. It's like skill levels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It would be like easy and hard mode, but it's that eyeball's creeping me out. Do you like it better when it turns into the weird hand? Because I don't.
Come on, the hand grabs things.
Yeah.
I can't open this lock with a rock.
Yeah, so like that's the basis of the gameplay and how fucking like weird and off-putting it is.
Yeah.
And that's what was essentially, I mean, that was the whole game. But like I said, the weird thing is that it would delete itself after you finish the game. So people would try to, like after that got out, people would get to the very end of the game and then not advance. Like, because they would tell you once you go through the white at the end,
it's over.
It's over.
You don't have this game
and it deletes and it crashes the system. And when you start it up, there's no trace of this game and it doesn't exist.
Huh.
And the hand that guides us, guide grabs.
Huh.
So I don't know. I just think that's cool. So
that's very cool.
Again, the likelihood of a game that could self nuke like that on a command, like on a if then command, like if they go through this, then this happens. Like the likelihood of that is very, very low in the 90s or in the late 80s. Hell, in the 90s too. But I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying this is a weird story, and I like it. I think it's cool, and I think it's kind of creepy that it's like this ominous game and that with no explanation. And that's that with that. And there's like some guy, I was watching a dude who was talking about it on YouTube, and he bought a copy of the game for $733. Like,
and did it work?
I didn't care enough. I could not stand watching him.
Okay. So
I don't know. I started the video, heard him complaining, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do this to myself right now.
No, thank you.
Nope. So yeah, 5,000 copies deleted. There's like very little likelihood of there being more than one out there right now.
I think I read one article that was like, we just have to hope that one is in someone's basement somewhere.
I mean, these were like on the 3.5-inch floppies.
Yeah.
So
now people just use those as coasters.
Right.
And the save logo.
You cool. You 3D printed the save logo?
Yeah.
So the next game I have is called Berserk. It was from 1980, Stern Electronics, out of Chicago. And this was kind of their foray in 77. They were like, we're getting into the arcade scene here. And they were like, really? And so they got into like jukeboxes and arcade cabinets and things like that. And they got into creating their own things. So there's this game called Berserk. And again, 1980, you start as this little green man inside a maze-like room. And it's very like Pac-Man minus the dots. Where, in fact, here, I've got game footage.
So this is an actual game.
Yeah. No, this totally exists. Watch, it's going to give me an ad because I've had it queued up for so long.
Stone goes berserk.
But yeah, there you go. So this is what the game looks like. You're a green man in a little maze-like room shooting lasers, and there's robots that shoot lasers back at you. You lose a life if you're shot by a laser, run into a robot, run into the wall, or linger in a room long enough. So if you hang out in a room long enough, like if he goes through here and clears out all these dudes and then just chills in the room without moving on to the next one.
Take damage.
No. Evil Otto shows up. And Evil Otto is a little smiley face that bounces around. But he can phase through walls and you can't kill him.
Oh, there he is.
Yep. That's Evil Otto. See? He just goes through walls and you can't kill him. And it takes a life. So you got to start over. So the robots even have dialogue. They had a dialogue generator, which for 1980 was like pretty off the charts.
Sure.
They had like 30-word vocabularies, which cost roughly $30,000 to do in 1980, which today would be about $101,880.31.
Which isn't that expensive for a video game.
For a single voice actor for a video game?
But for this, if it looks like this. Man, this fucking smiley face just keeps showing up everywhere.
That's Evil Otto. So he focused. I mean, like remember his dumb face because he plays into this a little bit.
Okay.
I didn't like that for some reason. So there was the kid named Peter Bukowski who was just a normal ass kid, wanted to be a doctor. He was fun, athletic, with a propensity for video games. He was good, actually. People said he was real good at video games. And so he would show up and he would play this game fairly frequently. On April 3rd, 1982, he went to Friar Tuck's game room and headed straight for Berserk. He played probably 15 minutes on the game. He played 2 games. He set 2 high scores. And then as soon as he pushed the initials in, he keeled over and died. right then and there on the spot, on the floor, on Friar Tuck's game room. He collapsed with heart failure. He was pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital. However, he had complained. So like that's like the urban legend part of it. Like the Berserk killed Pete Bukowski.
Right.
Really, he had complained about being short of breath and not feeling well, like while they were walking through the snow. I mean, it says April, but April in Illinois, I don't know. So, he said he was short of breath, not feeling well going there. So they stopped at a liquor store on the way there, and he got himself a soda, drank a soda on the way there. Didn't make him feel any better. But he said he really wanted to play Berserk, so he went and he played. And basically what happened was when they did the autopsy on him, it showed he had undiagnosed pediatric cardiomyopathy, which caused scar tissue to form around his heart and caused problems when his heart was stressed by physical activity. Again, walking in the snow, pounding it, pressuring it with caffeine, and then getting your adrenaline up from too high back-to-back high scores. Like, I mean, that right now, like when you're playing Tormentor X Punisher, how many times your watch be like, hey, what's up? You good?
There are definitely times, for sure.
Yeah, you good?
D-Town says lives in Michigan, and April's cold as shit.
Yeah, so there you go. I mean, it's possible to have snow in Illinois in April.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, we get snow in Shaver in April.
I was going to say, and April's it's the beginning of spring, but we also get some of the colder days as well.
Did you say as well? So it's tough to say, but there was another kid named Jeff Daly who was also a fan of Berserk. He collapsed due to heart failure after setting the high score on the game. His high score, 16,660. So if you take away the binary components, the 1 and the 0.
6.
Yeah. So
metal as fuck.
Bro, in Warzone, the last couple circles, I feel my heart pumping. Yeah, dude, I get like that too, where like after the game, you got to take a minute.
The one duos win that you and I got, remember? I was like, dude, my watch won't shut the fuck up right now.
Yeah,
like,
I need to focus. Yeah, no, I mean that's it. That's the feeling.
On DP, is this guy gonna break a high score right now, Berserk?
Well, see, so according to what I was watching, 16,660 is not much.
Really?
That's not like high score worthy.
Okay.
It's fairly low, and apparently he played for hours.
Huh.
So I don't know. I don't know what would have killed him.
Looks fun, but he looks invincible. Like whoever's playing this looks like they're not actually taking any damage.
Well, I mean, you gotta like get good if you're gonna post gameplay of retro games online. Nobody wants to see somebody try and play Pac-Man.
I mean, literally, he's not taking damage though.
Are they shooting him?
Yeah, look.
Oh yeah.
Pew 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 pew.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, and he's walking along the walls too. So yeah, because the walls are supposed to deal damage as well. But yeah, so there was another kid named Edward Clark Jr. Now this kid went to Friar Tuck's, the same place as Bukowski. Eventually made his way over to the Berserk machine. Really?
Ad playing.
These people with their mid-rolls. I can't even find my cursor. There we go. These people with their mid-rolls. So he made his way over to the Berserk machine. He found some coins sitting on top. Like nobody had, like it looked like a stack of quarters had been set there.
Everybody knows that means someone's got next.
Right. But apparently Edward Clark Jr. did not care.
He's like, fuck that. That means I get free games, baby.
Yeah, so he took one, he placed it in the machine, and began a game of Berserk. That's when Pedro Roberts showed up and staked claim to the coins. He demanded Clark vacate the machine, and a scuffle ensued that wound up with security getting involved and the boys being removed from the arcade.
Huh.
So they were told to leave at separate times. Pedro was asked to leave first, and then Edward had to wait for 10 minutes. And then when it was his turn to leave, they said, go a different way. Like, he went that way, you go that way. Like, just leave it. It's done.
Right.
He did not listen. He went the same way as Pedro.
A teenage young man?
Not listening to authority?
What? No way, Jose.
Yeah. So he walked the same direction. As he neared the end of the strip mall, Pedro stepped out of an alley and stabbed him. Killed him right then and there. Superstition for the game says it was Evil Otto because the city that they were in has a big smiley face water tower that looks similar to Evil Otto. So they said it was, Evil Otto, and it was the superstition, and it all tied together, and that's what made this a thing.
Yeah, sure.
So the body count for this game is 3. Officially, it's 1.5. I'll give the stabbing because of it a half.
Like you dipped a ball or something.
Yeah, like I'll give it a half. But yeah, that's Berserk. Just kind of again, a little creepy, a little weird.
Damn you, Evil Otto!
Yeah, just a little different. So something to think about. It looks like a fun game though, to be honest.
I was just gonna say, I kind of feel like this would be a hit.
Yeah, like I heard it was addictive. Like kids would line up, kids would fight for it, and that's the case with our next one as well. But
kids would stab for it.
Yeah. I mean that seems like it'd be a good one to get on stream. You know what I mean? Like get an emulator and just play Berserk on stream.
I'll look into it.
Yeah, I would be there for it.
I'll also look into some stabbings. Just for research purposes.
Right.
Of course.
Right, for science. So the last game I have for us tonight is the one that inspired this whole thing, Polybius.
Polybius?
I got to think about it for a second because I will say it like that. In Portland, Oregon. No, I'm not Fox Mulder. In Portland, Oregon, 1981. A game cabinet shows up in an arcade, and this thing is relatively unmarked. Like
even the owner's like, well, I don't know.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, nobody ever asked any of these arcade owners.
Yeah, I was gonna say the arcade owners gonna be like, yeah, I ordered it from Tim Schmidt up in.
Well, yeah, I feel like somebody should have asked. Yeah, Polybius. It sounds like some shit you should shout while running into battle. So upon depositing your quarter, you're greeted with a black screen and flashing blue letters that say Polybius. Copyright 1981, Sinnesloschen Inc.
Sure.
So Sinnesloschen is very, very roughly translated. Like if you didn't speak German, but like knew a little bit about German, that basically translates to senses delete or sensory deprivation.
Okay.
The gameplay was apparently very fast acting with puzzle elements, and there were bright colors with flashing lights. It played like a shoot 'em up vector based game. Think Galaga, but with like Pac-Man style moving and Space Invaders style enemies, like fucking reverse asteroids for seizures, with like Sudoku in it.
Okay.
Or something.
It kind of looked a little asteroid-like, right? Like.
Yeah. So I have gameplay. I don't know how I'm going to manage this here. Let's see. Let me try this. Put this here. We'll open this, and this. Okay, so I'm gonna add my other screen so you guys can see it. Display capture, add source. Okay. Oops, that's what my screen looks like? That's what my...
I was looking at something different. Sorry, man.
Well, whatever. They can see the game. Close enough. Because I'm not going to keep it up for very long because this shit is...
We can see it all.
It's brutal on the eyes. But yeah, that's what it looks like. So if you guys are photosensitive, epileptic, maybe don't watch this part.
It's also like a tiny corner of your screen. So watch.
Check it out. And that's essentially what the gameplay looks like. You move in and out and see the numbers around the rotating middle. Like
it's kind of
in the circles. So there's numbers in the circles, and then there's numbers that fire out of there. See the 4 that came out? And basically you have to shoot the numbers that correspond with the circle as it circles around.
Okay.
And because otherwise it like that's how you remove the that's how you like wear the boss down.
Okay.
And that thing is the boss, apparently.
Polybius also was a Greek historian.
I know.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. No, there's more to this, bud. So that was basically that was not actually the game itself. That was a recreated version that's been put out and that you can download. You can go download that. BRB, gonna go vomit real quick. So
Polybius's 40 books of histories chronicle the rise of the Roman Empire.
Yeah. Yes, they do. He also had a cipher named after him. But so kids who would play this game, they said it was super, super addictive. Lines would form around the machine, causing people to fight to play next. Players,
we know how that goes, Pedro.
Players would, when they were spending time away from the game, like when they would stop for the night and they would go home, they would feel nauseous, anxious, couldn't sleep. When they finally did sleep, they're having night terrors, nightmares.
So it's like when we play 7 Days. I'm like, okay, I got to do this tomorrow. I got to do this. Okay, I got to build this.
They're having migraines, amnesia, stuff like that. So it's really fucking them up. But the one thing that they all seem to have in common, stab, stabbity, stab, stab, stab.
Stab one more eye, and that's a federal offense.
Poke. So the one thing that they all seemed to have in common was that they said they felt like their thoughts weren't theirs anymore.
Huh.
Now, there's been...
Go on.
Continue. There's been discussion about it being a mind control thing. So, one source said Polybius was associated with Sega's arcade division. Oh, I'm sorry. There were even some suicides that were attributed to Polybius.
Oh, just in passing here, let me mention.
I forgot. I didn't get down that far. I got distracted. I had to scroll a little bit, and then I was like, oh, yeah, suicides. Fucking.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah. You guys are going to love this.
Very excited.
So one source said Polybius was associated with Sega's arcade division. This guy's name was PRG-017. He claimed to be a programmer that worked on Polybius. Unless you have a tinfoil hat, it's never truly your own thoughts now, is it? Nah, tinfoil doesn't work, man.
Come on, dude.
Get out. If it worked, do you think we'd get it in the stores? Come on. So he claimed the game was designed to stimulate certain areas of the brain. In fact, he said they were given maps of the brain and then said, like, high-pitched noises stimulate this area of the brain. And
so they're like, watch this. They play the game, and it's all... And the brain's all and glows in the scan or whatever.
Pretty much, yeah. And they were like, bright colors and flashing lights get these areas, and, math problems stimulate this area of the brain. So it was designed to, like, make your brain function on a bunch of different levels at once, according to this guy. He said that testers who played it began suffering amnesia and lost all interest in being a video game tester. They were like, this fucking sucks. I don't want to do this anymore. I hate this. They got depressed. They got sick. They
tried to unionize.
What do you mean we're not getting paid? So that these guys wanted nothing to do with it. And then he also claimed, the same guy, PRG-017, he claims the Sega Genesis CD that exists. You remember that?
Yeah, the Sega CD.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He said the remnants of the Polybius code are what helped the processor sync up. Like they used like recycled code from Polybius to help the processor sync up on the Sega CD for the Sega CD to work.
Yeah.
However, the Genesis CD didn't come out for another decade after Polybius came out. That was 91 and Polybius was 81.
Oh, okay.
So
I thought Polybius was later for some reason.
No, 81. So this guy also claims that he has but can't find one of the ROMs for Polybius, and if he can find it, he hopes that he'll be able to get it to boot up.
Of course.
Yeah, typical.
Better find that Polybius. I'm going to beat that ass.
So basically, due to this guy's timeline not matching and his details being hit and miss, plus this being literally the only mention of Sega's involvement, this whole thing sounds like
Sega!
Sounds like Sega! Sounds like this guy's blowing smoke, if you ask me. Like, that's my personal opinion. That guy's just a damn liar.
Yeah, when you say, "Oh, I have it, I just don't know where," it's the same as going, "I can do that, I just don't want it."
Well, and it's like, okay, so dude, if this rumor started in 81 about this thing, and you worked on the game and you have the ROM somewhere, you know where that is. You're not gonna set this, like, you looked for it. You went through the boxes in the garage, you dug through the closet, you found it. Thanks for scaring me, Jesse. Sega.
So I should have done the Sega.
Yeah.
But I can only hear.
So there's another one that I didn't do tonight. Another urban legend I didn't do tonight that was about Sonic, and like there's like a demonized version of Sonic.
Right. I think I've heard something about it. I mean, and there's even like pictures of that too.
Yeah. It looks cool. Yeah. So anyway, so this guy says, again, it seems, I think if you have this stuff, you know where it is. That's not something that you misplace.
Yeah. If you've kept it around long enough to have a ROM that's 40 years old now, you're probably like, oh, well, all of the stuff I worked on then, or at least in this general area.
Well, and at the time, it was only about 30 years old.
Yeah, see, but I don't know. I lose shit all the time, but not significant shit.
Not past projects.
Not past projects that are like giant cult classics. Like, I don't know.
That got mentioned on The Simpsons.
Did it?
Yeah, Bart went to like an old arcade, and in fact, check my Instagram, dog. Yeah. I used a picture from The Simpsons, and Polybius is in the background.
Okay. Eddie, I have heard the Lavender Town stories.
Yeah, the Lavender Town stories are creepy, especially because they did remarket the music for the American, or for the Western push. So, again, this being the only mention of Sega's involvement, this guy seems like he's a big fat liar.
You're a big fat phony.
This guy's a phony. So there was another man named Stephen Roach from the Czech Republic. He said he was contracted to work on this game as he and some other friends did some freelance programming. And they were contacted by a South American game company that has to remain nameless for legal reasons.
Of course.
Basically, he said that they were the guys who did like the soldering on the motherboards and shit like that, and put these arcade cabinets together. And in their free time, they were like, yeah, we fuck around, we code games, like whatever. They're making the 8-bit, 16-bit pixel games. And so they're doing all that, and these guys were like, and as they got more popular, because it was kind of like an Apple vibe is what I got from this story.
Started in a garage.
Not that it started in a garage, but that they were like just kind of freestyling, and as a result, there was no pressure, so everything came really naturally, and it was really good. Everything was high quality. Everything was real high quality and shit like that, because they're able to have fun with it.
They were doing their thing. They weren't working for some dude who was like, that shit needs to be on my desk by Friday.
Exactly. So they're having fun, and everything was really high quality. So that's what led to this South American company coming to them and saying, hey guys, want you to do that. And so they were like, okay. And he was like, what's the name of your company? And they were like, Sinus Lotion. For whatever reason. Like that's what they called themselves.
Yeah.
So again, this seems like a hoax because he adds like nothing to it. He has no proof. He has like, so I'm presenting this story because I Watcher gave it to me. I was fascinated by it. I wanted to share it with you. I wanted to share it with everybody else here. I thought it was fascinating. I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying that this is 100% stone cold fact. This guy is saying that this is 100% stone cold fact.
I just can't find the proof that I have.
Right. I'm giving you all the evidence I can find.
Right.
This guy has provided zero evidence. At least the other guy was like, I've got this inside information that nobody else knows. It belongs to Sega. I mean, I'm not saying that adds credibility, but I'm saying at least he's trying.
At least it's a fresh idea, you fuck.
Yeah, I mean, at least he's out here making an effort. So again, basically this guy was tracked down by the guy. So there's a YouTube channel called Ahoy, and they do really good series. And they did like an hour. It was like an hour and 8 minutes or something like that on Polybius, and the research was top notch. This guy was really good. He was super thorough. He tracked these people down. He reached out to PRG 017. Never got a response, but he reached out to him. He tracked down SinisLotionInc.com, which is where you can go download the emulator that I just opened up and showed you guys. Like you can go download that and play the game right now. It's not the game; it's based on what everybody remembers of the game. It's kind of like a Mandela effect, where people remember this game. Nobody actually remembers the game,
right?
So when he tracked down this guy, he was sending him messages and was like, "I'm gonna shoot you straight. Did you create Polybius?" And the guy was like, "Yeah." And he said he was real confrontational about everything. That's what it was. He was real confrontational about everything. Anyway, he couldn't provide a single bit of evidence to support what he was saying, which is key if you're going to be making these kind of claims. You got to be able to prove it just a little bit. So I would say that it's possible that this is an experiment of sorts. Let's be honest. Has anyone in the history of ever attempted mind control experiments on people who didn't know that it was happening?
No. I don't think that's happened.
No.
I can't.
No. And so there were rumors of mind control techniques being applied to the game. So like subliminal messaging, like kind of like what was in. Did you ever see They Live with Rowdy Roddy Piper?
Yes,
where he puts on the glasses,
right?
And says,
but
obey,
I mean, like,
consume, things
I watched it high as shit in like someone's dorm room, like that. That's the experience I have with that movie. So I definitely didn't get like a quality viewing, but I understand the reference and I get what's yeah.
So those were the same or similar messages to what was being shown in this game.
Yeah,
flash on the screen, consume.
Yeah, stay
asleep,
obey.
Conform.
Classic. You're welcome, Shepherd Fairy, for the ideas.
Right. So it was just one of those things that kept flashing. So in this game that I showed you, if you go in, well, I'll get to it, but there's in the arcade version, in the actual arcade version, the game, people started to notice that it was getting serviced real frequently. Like these games only got serviced like once a month. And this game was serviced like weekly, but it wasn't just like the regular dudes. It wasn't just the game company coming in and servicing it, taking the coins and checking the meters and putting everything back.
Like it was guys in white suits letting a bunch of blood out of it. I don't know.
Close. It was guys in black suits who would come in, and what they would do is they'd open the back, or they'd open the door in the front. They'd plug their little thing in. They'd check the data. They'd take the reads that they needed. They'd shut it back up and they'd leave. They never touched the coins, and they weren't there for any. They never touched any other machine.
Huh.
They would come in, they'd check these, and then they'd split, and that was that with that. So that's what, again, that's kind of what makes it weird. Like now it's got these weird guys coming in checking on it. They don't check on any other machines. They're not from the company. Like they're by themselves out here. And they did it weekly, where everything else was serviced monthly at best. But these machines, the Polybius machines, only lasted a month or two. They weren't out for very long.
And they took them back?
And then they got pulled. They disappeared just as quickly as they showed up.
They're like those e-scooters.
Those things were everywhere for like 20 minutes. I took one to a baseball game and could not find it when I left.
When it happened in Fresno, it literally was. Like on a Saturday, they got dropped off all around Fresno State. And then by like the next Thursday, there was not a single one to be seen. It was legitimately less than one full week. And Fresno was like,
they all get stolen?
No, Fresno was like, get them off the streets or we'll sue the shit out of you. We didn't tell you could do this. And because it was hella, like, that's how it works. It's just rogue. They just drop off 500 scooters in front of a college. And we're like, this is the business model, baby. Free space. You don't own this sidewalk.
It's free real estate.
The Men in Black.
Yeah, so the Men in Black would show up. So they would take the readings and they would split. The machines were removed and have yet to resurface in any honest way. So there's been like there's been machines that you like. I mean, you can go into Google right now and search for a Polybius cabinet and find a bunch, but it's stuff that people made.
Yeah,
where they cut them and they paint them and they mock it up to look like the Polybius cabinet. So pretty much everything that, like I said, this Ahoy video, they went on a deep dive on this thing and they killed it. They did a great job. So I really recommend it if this Polybius story interests you at all, please look them up. And I'll give you the link if you can't find it yourself. Basically, goddamn, I totally lost my spot. Oh, so I think it's possible that Polybius was a code name for like a game that was maybe being tested. You know what I mean? Like they had a game. They were like, okay, we made this. We need to see how it's gonna play in Middle America. So they took it to Portland.
Yeah, and it's like when they do the car test, they put that like weird camo on it to where like when it's photographed, you can't really tell the shape and contour of the cars. It's like, yo, we want to see how it fucking feels, not give you assholes like sweet previews of what you know is coming up. Like,
right. Well, but yeah, so they give it a code name. Could the Ukrainian dude be a fall guy for CIA OP? Oh, CIA ops. Yeah, maybe. It's possible. So I do have thoughts on this, but it does get a little bit weirder. But I do think it's possible that it was just something where they were like, the guys were going in, they were checking the data on the games to see the hours played. They don't care about the money. It's not about how much money it's actually bringing in, or it is, but they're not doing it for the money. Maybe they work something out with the arcade owner where he gets to keep 100% of the profits if they get to test the cabinet in here, or whatever. But I would say that's a likely possibility. That was a game that didn't perform as well as they thought it was going to, where kids maybe played for too long on a single quarter, and
yeah, I see. Like, nope.
And they were like,
needs to be harder than
yeah,
this.
and they were like, fuck all this, and they yanked the game and they retooled it into Mortal Kombat or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that's entirely possible. I would actually say it's more than likely. In fact, Polybius uses a font from one of the Williams games, Bubbles, and it's almost exact except for a couple of areas. There's an H that's upside down, but it's the same font. It's just if you turn the letter upside down.
Huh.
And there's an O that doesn't line up exactly, but it's real close. Real close. Real close.
How close?
Real close. So, it's just that it's possible that they were like, yes, that we're just using the same, we're just slapping this stuff over.
Yeah.
You can copy my homework, just make it look different.
Yeah.
It's also plausible. I would say it's plausible that this was a mind control experiment of some kind designed by the military to subliminally train kids as fighters with the latest weaponry, so that when called upon, they're able and willing to serve.
This is like the alpha program to the drones.
Well, like, what was that movie with Emilio Estevez? Starfighter? Okay.
I don't know that I'm familiar with it.
The South Park version. Remember when Kenny got really good at that PSP game?
Yeah.
And they took him up to heaven to fight the...
Yes.
That.
Okay.
That's essentially Starfighter, but with aliens.
Okay. Fair.
But this is not something...
And Emilio!
This isn't something new, though. This is, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Battlezone from Atari, fucking Doom, like Arma. Arma was designed by the U.S. Army, like as a simulator, a training simulator. But they sell it for mass consumption for fucking $14.99 on Steam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's fucking difficult to play.
Yeah.
It's really hard to play.
But it's probably made specifically like that, so that it's detailed, it's slow,
You have to walk like Quap.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, you can't just like swing. It's not, you don't move like Call of Duty. You don't ASDW, you don't swing with the mouse. Like, no.
You move your leg and then your foot and
then you turn your shoulders. Like, it's fucking awful. It's awful. Either that or I'm a complete moron and couldn't figure out how to rebind the keys. I would think that's possible. There's a website where you can download the tribute of Polybius. That's the one that I showed you guys earlier. And it even includes the subliminal messages. In the README file, it tells you how to find it and turn it off. But basically, like you mentioned, Polybius was a Greek historian. he also had a cipher that he shares a name with called the Polybius square. And when you use a Polybius square, and which I will show you what that looks like. Looks a little something like this. So when you use it and you spell out his name, like P is going to be 3 and 5. O is going to be 3 and 4. 3 and 1 for L. So that's how you use it. That's how you use the Polybius.
So you add up the two numbers, or you
no,
multiply them?
It's like 3 and 5 becomes 35.
Oh, I see.
3 and 4 becomes 34.
Okay.
And that's how that works. And if you use that to spell out his name, Polybius, and input it into the menu in the game that I showed you, you get to the special menu, the special, like the secret settings menu, where you can go in and you can change the subliminal messaging. You can change like the direction that it pushes. You can change the like the message that it sends, basically. You can change the strobe effects to different things. It's where you go and you can turn all that stuff off, so you can just play the game. So that stuff exists in this fan tribute that you can go download. Also, just for fun, Polybius, if you break it down into its root words, poly is many and bios is life. So Polybius is many lives. Video game.
Okay.
So people online have claimed to find old cabinets, like I said, but it's a lie. There's a photo of a motherboard that this guy posted, and he was like, "Yep, I have it. Look." And even on one of the little circuits, it says Polybius. It's like stamped on it. Except it's a shoop, and it's actually a Miss Pac-Man board, and he photoshopped it, and like the guy took the guy.
What a cock!
Right, the guy in the video was like, he goes, "Look," and he drags it into Google Images. And it's like, boop, Miss Pac-Man motherboard. And on the side of it, it says M-Pac-Man. Like, yeah, it's a Miss Pac-Man. Like, in the original picture, it's right there. So,
son of a bitch.
Yes, but according to this breakdown I watched, there is a single cabinet that is not explained. And this guy went deep on this. So he said it uses a Namco-style cabinet similar to Galaga or Pac-Man cabinets. Okay. The shape across the top, the front curve, and the screen angle all seem to fit. The coloring, however, appears to fit the one of the other cabinets. It was black, and then it had white sides, which wasn't common except for this one cabinet. This
is the cabinet.
Well, but see, the rest of it doesn't fit. Okay. Just the coloring. The controls didn't match any of these cabinets. They used an offset single joystick and a single button. That was it. And there wasn't a player two. It was one player with the button. Yeah. Coin boxes that they had on the front didn't belong to a Namco machine, even though the cabinet fit Namco. It wouldn't have fit anything that Namco would have used at the time. They would, however, match better with Delta East or Nichibutsu.
Huh.
Nichibutsu, yeah. Which are two different cabinet manufacturers, but it means two things basically. One, it's either a really it's an independent company's own design that they came up with, and they made this cabinet and we're like, you know what, we're not using it, and they scrapped it and it's gone and it's dead forever. Or it's a custom project built out of spare parts, and this guy's just faking it like all the others.
Yeah.
Also, again, could be a Photoshop. It's a black and white photo, like on a.
He's just learning from all the mistakes of the guys who were showing off the machines before him.
Yeah, and like you can go on YouTube and find videos of people going and finding Polybius cabinets, but they're all the same. Guy goes in and it's a dark room, and he's like looking around, and then they're like checking stuff out, and he's like, look, it's the cabinet, and then what was that? And then a jump scare, and then nothing. And then, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then it's like, fuck you. I'm trying, like...
Just fuck you.
Yeah, I legit have questions about a maybe video game, and you're being a prick.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So there was this guy named Kurt Collar, who is the earliest mention of Polybius online, dating all the way back to February 3rd of 2000.
Okay. And he's like, yo, does anybody else remember?
No, not so much. He basically, I believe he claimed to be one of the guys who created it.
Oh, okay.
It's real weird. It's real weird. So I was looking around for information, and I found an AMA on Reddit which is still there. You can go to it. You can find it. Basically, the AMA title is I played the arcade game Polybius in Portland, Oregon in 1981. Ask me anything. It says Wikipedia says that Polybius is an arcade game described in urban legend, which is said to have had induced various psychological effects on players. Story describes players suffering from amnesia, night terrors, and tendency to stop playing all video games. Around a month after its supposed release in 1981, Polybius is said to have disappeared without a trace. There is no evidence it really existed. I was there, Portland, Oregon, in 1981. I played it. It wasn't very spooky. I heard about the people who got sick. I don't think anybody actually died, just got headaches. It must have been the goddamn music. It was insanely loud and annoying. Anyways, ask me anything about it. And so somebody said, wait, I thought this game was an urban legend. Even The Simpsons made a joke of it. Okay, since this is apparently legit, was it fun? Was it popular among other games? What was the premise of the game? And this guy posted a wall of text, which, I mean, you guys can go read it or whatever if you want, but he said the men in the black suits were real, but it was, he said there was an arcade company that came around and serviced the machines, and it was always the same couple of guys. And they would always shoot the shit with the kids in the arcade, and sometimes they'd buy them pizzas, sometimes they'd play games with them, but they were and hang out. Sometimes they were in and out, but they were always courteous. He said these guys were not the usual guys that came in, but it was Halloween, and he said they were dressed in black suits, but they said they were going as a group costume as FBI agents.
Okay.
So that's why these guys were dressed in black suits.
I see.
He said it wasn't the usual guys. They were still very courteous, but they were there. They did their job. They serviced the machine, and they split. So yeah, like he said the music was loud and obnoxious, blips and bloops. One of his friends held the high score on it. He ended up committing suicide, but it was only a few years ago for completely unrelated reasons. So like,
or it was just the long con from Polybius.
Right.
And I just realized in the Simpsons reference, I looked it up because I was trying to like picture it completely. Mm-hmm. The front of it stamped with property of U.S. government. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's thoughts that it was maybe based on a game called Cube Quest, that this is maybe what people were remembering. Cube Quest it looks similar to what I kind of just showed you. But
Cube Quest?
Yeah, Cube Quest. And it uses 3D imaging as well, like that Polybius game did, but this was a Laserdisc game.
Okay.
And these were notoriously unreliable.
Okay.
So they were
Laserdisc the giant one?
Yeah, that was that big vinyl record size CD. Yeah.
I remember one of science class I took in high school, like an environmental science and technologies, like every video we watched was on Laserdisc. It was so weird.
Mr. Crowley's class.
Conrad Bitters.
Oh. Yeah. We did. I mean,
maybe they shared a Laserdisc player.
I was going to say, I know Mr. Crowley always played him on Laserdisc.
Mr. Crowley.
But yeah, so this is kind of what people were saying, that this may be what people were remembering.
As the game Polybius?
Yeah, like this is what they saw, and like the Polybius urban legend made them
go, oh, I played that before.
Yeah, okay. And this is what they played, even though it was like unsuccessful.
Oh, this looks a little Star Fox like almost.
Very much so. Very much so. Again, it was a Laserdisc game, but it wasn't very successful because Laserdisc games were not good. Like they were unreliable, and it caused the machines to be down a lot, and so they weren't bringing in income, which is what's the point of having an expensive machine that you have to service all the time if it's not making any money for you.
Right.
So these never really took off. But yeah, that's one of the. I mean, this was one of the ideas that they.
This is somebody's explanation for Polybius, essentially.
Right. This game existed. This is what people are kind of Mandela affecting into a game that never existed. Now, this video I watched on the, and I'm almost done too. So for people,
would someone in 1981 think that
this wasn't 1981? This was like 1986.
Okay. Well,
maybe not that late.
Okay.
Maybe not quite that late. It was maybe like 83 or 84.
I was gonna say, would you miss it by that many years?
30 years after the fact?
Yeah, but I guess if it's a 3 or 4 year gap, it's different than I would have assumed that just based on the background graphics of that that it was like early to mid 90s.
Right.
So then it's a decade, 30 years later. Then I have a little less like, yeah, for sure. You can't remember. If it's a decade apart, it's like, dude, you got to fucking, I need you to be able to tell the difference between something you played when you were 13 and when you were 23.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. So that was one of the explanations. Now, like I said, I'm almost done, so we'll wrap up here in just a few minutes. But one of the explanations was that this whole thing is just a huge hoax and never existed, and that's because this guy went like Wayback Machine diving, and took it as far back as he could, and he went all the way back to Usenet, like before it was the World Wide Web. He went back to Usenet and found 2 mentions of Polybius in game magazines from as early as 1994, and they were in back-to-back issues of Game Informer magazine. And what the first one was for a game, like a Cobra Commander style game, and it was called. It had a cipher that you had to solve, and it used the Polybius square. And the second one was a follow-up on it. So those were only 2 mentions.
Okay.
From the start of the magazine, as far back as he could search, all the way up until the year 2000, which it was mentioned on that one website, which was like coinop.net or something like that. It was a message forum. And somebody posted asking if anybody remembered Polybius. And apparently the guy that posted that is the person who was also answering questions about it and like fluffing their own thread, self-bump and all that, trying to keep the conversation going. And
Bump.
Yeah, bump. So instead of doing that, they added pointlessness to the conversation and got it all lost. And that was that, what was his name? Kurt Collar. That was him.
Okay.
And so he was like, is this you? Oh, subscriber. Yes. Thank you. You know what? I do have stuff for subscribers. Thank you for subscribing. I do have stuff for you.
You know why they subbed? Because it's on me.
Because it's on you. Yeah, pretty much.
They were like, dude, that guy looks comfortable as fuck.
Yeah. Hey, man, he's getting it. I'll leave it there. You got to dunk anyway.
Do I?
Yeah, Eddie redeemed dunk it, and he said redemption time.
I tried left-handed last time. That was fucked.
Redemption.
Oh, man, I'm sore as fuck, too. Oh, my God, that fucking... Just get 2 points, bitch.
No, I'm going to let it play because you earned it. You got it.
Yeah, I got my own putback.
Kanye West. Fuck
that ceiling, you know what I'm saying? I just jumped too high.
They celebrating you. We're all celebrating. So yeah, that's pretty much Polybius. Anyway, this guy basically, the earliest mention of it, aside from people saying, yeah, I was there in 1981 and played it, and the rumor in the rumor mill is the earliest mention of it is in 2000 online.
Yeah.
On this forum by this guy who refuses to answer questions about the game now. Like he won't talk to this reporter, he won't answer questions about it, like nothing. That's it. Yeah, man, we just did Polybius. Like you just
wrapped up on 40 minutes of Polybius.
Yeah, you just
watch the VOD, dude. Watch the VOD.
You just got the end of it, man.
Go follow Hella Greg on YouTube.
No, you know what? Fuck it. We're running it back. Let me scroll. You said, I feel like there should be somebody throwing trash too.
If I miss another dunk because of the ceiling, I'm gonna throw trash at myself.
Let me finish this Red Bull and I'll whip it over there. Yeah. So, boo at the reporter. Yeah. I mean, well, no, this guy, like I said, go watch Ahoy's video on it. This guy does a great job. He does a fantastic job working on this. Oh, here was something. This is what I forgot I had about it. So, do you remember the book Uncle John's Bathroom Reader?
Yeah, it's like a bunch of like little stories,
just
and fun
useless facts
and
that
yes.
Okay, so Polybius is mentioned in that, and when it says the theory. It says the government released a video game that was really an experimental mind control device. The details. In 1981, a game called Polybius showed up in a few arcades in Portland, Oregon. Unlike the two-dimensional, graphically simple games of the area, Pac-Man and Space Invaders, for example, Polybius featured rotating 3D images and strobe lights. Many people played this alluring game, yet no one remembers it. Why? The combination of spatial focus and strobe lights caused brain damage. Many players suffered amnesia, insomnia, and nightmares, and at the peak of the game's popularity, arcade owners noticed mysterious men in black suits who came to collect data from Polybius machines. They were from the military. Polybius was being used to test mind control techniques. After a few weeks, Polybius vanished from the arcades forever.
So they stated as fact.
It says, below that it says, the truth. In 1980, Sinneslotion, a small German video game maker, created Polybius, a disorienting game that simulated 3D graphics, but arcade owners weren't interested. They said it was too new and too weird to be commercially viable, so Sinneslotion decided to test market the game in 6 arcades in Portland, Oregon. The owners were right. The game bombed, but one 13-year-old boy who played the game suffered a seizure from it. Sinneslotion employees flew to Portland and immediately removed the game from the arcades, explaining the Men in Black. Faced with possible scandal, the company dissolved. The legend probably took off because one of Polybius' designers, Ed Rotberg, also the creator of Battlezone, Ed Rotberg is also the creator of Battlezone, a video game used by the U.S. government to train military recruits.
Ivan at Niad.
There's liminal, subliminal, and superliminal. Superliminal? Yeah, watch. Hey, you, join the Navy. All right. So yeah, that right there is what lends a tiny bit of credence to.
Plus, if I'm going to believe anybody,
it's going to be Uncle John's bathroom reader.
That's right.
They never really led me astray.
Never. Not once.
I mean,
in the time before cell phones on the toilet, a house that had that was where you wanted to be doing your pooping.
That's right. They were number 1 for number 2.
Yes, that's right. Please clap.
Please clap.
So yeah, that was it. Again, you can go find that book on Google Books, and you can read that page. You can just search Polybius on Google, and you'll find it in Google Books. You can go find that AMA. Reading the put on the robes and preach. Pac-Man and Pong are connected. Oh boy! All right, I got this.
That's what Pac-Man eats, dude.
Look, don't give away the sermon.
Sorry, I was just trying to throw some softballs out there.
Got it on the right way this time. I put it on back.
Hey everybody, I'm Greg's empty chair. When he goes away, I just sit here.
And try and reinflate. And absorb some of this sweat. Okay, so Pac-Man and Pong are connected. Not in the way you're thinking, though. It is because Pac-Man eats the Pong balls, but I think it's more that there was a massive fire in the Pong ball storage factory, or the Pong ball creation factory, and the remaining, or the survivors that were caught inside were the ghosts in Pac-Man. And so he's now inside the factory. That's why it's such a maze, because he's got to navigate through all the different merchandise and the shelving and the equipment and stuff like that. But he's working his way through the factory.
He's like a search and rescue worker?
Essentially, he's going in there to retrieve the ghosts. He's not eating them to kill them. He's eating them to put them in his body. He's letting them possess him so he can get them out. Yeah, and he's got it, but it takes its toll. So he has to eat the fruit along the way. It's high in sugar and high in natural sugars. It's good for you.
Okay.
So essentially,
It's hydrating.
Pac-Man is a hero that we didn't deserve. So much so that he brought his wife into the same business. They're now like Ed and Lorraine Warren, searching for the ghosts of the Pong Ball Factory tragedy.
Eddie, you knew he was a Ghostbuster. What did you think he was? That's what the whole game's about, man. You ever play Pac-Man?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't know what to do with my hand.
Felt like I was on a rocket ship. Oh, man. Great sermon. Can't wait for the next one.
Oh, we're getting them in there.
I'm going to start thinking of some real good sermon topics for you.
Stuff for me to just riff on.
I've got a lot of points.
I've got questions.
Please clap.
Please clap.
Wait.
I do have 24,000 channel points. So maybe I'll just make you do that like 10 times before we get out of here.
It's cool. There's a cap on it. There's a nightly cap and there's a user cap.
Maybe I just give some of these points away.
Well, at the most, we're getting 4 more. Because I've done one.
The Warrens lived one town over from me. Damn this M key. Yo, you're the best, dude.
That's funny. All right. Well, do you guys have anything else you want to add? Because that was pretty much my video game Urban Legends. I mean, that shit. I think that shit was fun.
I have one or two.
Hit me.
They're short. So there's one in Super Mario Galaxies 2 in Silverburn Galaxy. There's a certain point where you could look up to the mountain range, and if you look hard enough, you'll see 3 small, ambiguously creepy silhouettes looming over the cliff, staring down at you. I don't have pictures of them. You can look them up because they're Super Mario Galaxy 2. They're called the Hell Valley Sky Trees when you look in the source code. And Nintendo's never commented on it. They don't show up anywhere else. They are a little creepy. Yeah, they hang out up there and look down at you. And you got the clickbait 7-year mystery solved. It hasn't. Nintendo has never commented on it to this day. And that's really all it is.
That's what they look like. So that's an enlarged version here.
Yeah.
And
that's like a cutout version,
right? That's the negative of them, but they don't look like trees. That's what the Nintendo response was trees.
Yeah, well, it's their response wasn't even that. They're
right.
Just,
well,
the official files label these things as Hell Valley Sky Trees,
right?
Which is a little ominous sounding for a Nintendo title.
Yeah, for something that's super happy and fun. But I think Nintendo has a habit of making their games a little darker and then having to go through and lighten them up.
So there's actually another one that I'll give you 2 more. There's another one Mario related like that where there was a Mario 64 sequel that was just too dark and they decided to cut a lot of it out and turned into Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, I know about this one.
Yes, that's really it for that one. And then the other one is the.
Well, did you see the Luigi's Dead thing?
Yes.
Where when the lightning flashes, you can see his shadow on the wall hanging. His arms are straight down by his side, but in reality he's on the phone. Yeah, he's standing there. He's standing there. Like with his back to Mario, like you're looking at Luigi from behind, and he's standing there with the phone up to his ear, and he's talking on the phone, and the power's out in the house, and lightning flashes outside the window, and it flashes on this side first, and it projects his shadow on the wall there, and he's up off the ground, like the shadow's up on the wall, not stemming from his feet and running up the wall, but up on the wall, and his arms are down by his side, and his head's over like this, and then it flashes again on the other side and projects the same thing over here. And that's what I was saying. Sometimes Nintendo likes to make their things a little darker. Yeah. And maybe have to backpedal a little bit.
Okay, I like that. So another one is GTA San Andreas Bigfoot sightings.
Oh yeah,
there is no official Bigfoot in the game, but just like real life, it didn't stop people from
people be finding them.
People be seeing. No one ever has any like actual substantiated like screen caps or clips or anything of an actual. There's mods. Lots of modders have inserted Bigfoot into San Andreas, but no like legitimate vanilla playthroughs where a Bigfoot exists, and they're nowhere in the game files. But that's just a fun one there. I have this short list. You probably looked at it too. See if any of these are worth. The Madden Curse is just something fun to think about.
Madden Curse is a good one.
It's kind of gone away for the most part, which is good, I guess, for anybody getting on the cover of Madden.
So there's the hanging Luigi, because Eddie asked for a picture.
Oh, okay.
So there you can see his feet up off the ground, like not stemming from his feet and running along the wall.
Yeah.
And
it's just bad shadow work.
Well, that's their official response was it was a glitch.
Let's see. Oh, there's another good one. It's Final Fantasy VIII.
The
Squall's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's like 2 discs for this game. Nero Says Alive is someone we enjoy and hang out with. This is his favorite video game. So I asked him about it.
Oh yeah.
And he told me there was an official response from the creator of the game, essentially saying, "No, if you look." So at the end of the first disc, the main character Squall gets hit in the chest with an icicle.
Yeah, he's impaled.
Impaled. And the beginning of the second disc, he's fine. There's no real explanation, and you just go on your journey. He said that like if you look closely, it got him in the shoulder, not the chest.
But I think the reason for that was because of the way that the story continued. They said the first disc was so...
And then it got like real surreal. And
Well, they said the first disc was so well done and well written and had complex storylines and it had these complex characters and they all had their own arc and it was just this really involved, like immersive story. And then what happened was after he died and like wakes up with no apparent explanation, like that's what kicks off the second disc, which was shoddy storytelling and the story wasn't as full, it wasn't as immersive. Like the girl that he was into is just all of a sudden into him for no reason.
Yeah, I've never played it.
I haven't either, but that's what I learned about that one too, because I got, like I said, 72 hours, dude. I've just been cranking through these. I'm loving it.
There was one about Portal too, or Portal as well, I should say.
Right.
The bound human hanging upside down, the AI.
I don't remember that. I remember seeing one where it got real dark, but I don't think I watched that one.
Yeah. It's just, you guys can look them up. It's an IGN.
The cake is a lie.
The cake is a lie.
But yeah, those are I love those. And then of course the ET hole.
Yeah, and supposedly there's a Morrowind mod, like the game before Skyrim. Mm-hmm. I'll just read you this quick little 2-paragraph thing. It says, because the picture that goes along with it's really creepy. This urban legend brings an extra layer of creepiness as it comes in the form of an actual playable mod that the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind as you walk around and explore. You'll notice that many of the game's NPCs have perished, lying motionless on the ground. The few that remain hauntingly stare into space, informing you to, quote, watch the sky.
Oh, yeah.
Which looks eerily similar to a real night sky. People who have played the mod report seeing brief glimpses of shadowy figures lurking and following them just out of sight. But what's more unsettling is that some who claim to play for prolonged periods of time swear they've seen this figure lurking near them in real life.
Yeah. Isn't it? It's one of the characters in the game, but his limbs are all stretched out.
Yeah, I have no idea. These are just like real short, quick clips or quick hits of it.
His limbs are all stretched out, and he walks like the spiders in 7 Days.
Gross.
And he walks like that and climbs up the walls and stuff.
Hate it.
Okay, so I'm not a Minecraft guy. Were you ever a Minecraft guy?
No.
Okay.
My kids play Minecraft.
Yeah?
Yep.
Be on the lookout for Herobrine.
Okay.
You know what that is?
It was that on this list, but I didn't read it because I wasn't so interested.
It's just real quick. It's a base model of like the starting character Steve, except its eyes are all white.
Okay.
And it shows up in the game and just kind of watches you from a distance. And it's not another playable character.
Okay.
It's just another, like, it's like a bug in the game that shows up when you're making like super massive things. Like when the guys that I built the Roman Colosseum.
Right.
It took me 11 hours, but I did it.
Yeah.
Fuck you. That took you like 6 weeks, bro.
You know it.
But when the guys are doing stuff like that, Herobrine shows up, and he doesn't there's like when you approach him, he takes off. He disappears. And he's not like malicious or anything, but rumor has it that Notch, the guy that created Minecraft, his brother played, and his username was Herobrine. And somebody asked him if he had a brother, and he was like, I did. He's not with us anymore. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah.
And so they thought that maybe he put this Herobrine in the game as like a let his brother live on in the game type thing.
Interesting.
Except when asked about it being in the game, he said, no, there's nothing like that in the game. However, just as like a wink and a nod to everybody who was all hyped about Herobrine, when he did the next patch for the game, one of the update lines of code said remove _Herobrine. So, and he put that in the patch notes. Herobrine removed. So, who knows? Who fucking knows?
Curious.
No, we didn't talk about that. I don't know what that is, Chris. Doku Literature Club. It's nothing of an urban legend, but creepy game. I like creepy games. I'm gonna try and play PT with Sam this weekend.
Cool. Enjoy.
I showed her and she's like, "This looks fucked up," and I was like, "Yeah, doesn't it?" So
let's do it.
Yeah. Are you not excited? Didn't that Japanese doomsday cult have a video game too? Yeah, there was a video game. There was a Japanese cult that was trying to recruit, or I don't know if it was Japanese, but there was definitely a cult that was trying to recruit people. Yeah, man. Fucking video games are powerful. We give them too much power. Too much. Anyway, watch me stream hockey the rest of the week. Jesse, what do you stream?
I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I just finished a game on Sunday. So I have a few in line. I'm just not sure where I'm going yet.
Watching you play, or like reading about all this stuff and then watching you play Tormentor X Punisher is one of those feelings. You know what I mean? Like the way the words flash on the screen real quick. Wally!
Yeah.
Fuck you! You know what I mean? Like
it's a fever dream of a game.
I'd been watching you for months. Like at least a couple months before I was like, holy shit, that says Wizard's Hat. What is that?
Right.
Like, what's a Wally?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm seeing stuff in the game that I'm like, holy shit, how have I never noticed? But it's always been there. It doesn't look foreign and new.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's what I think about with stuff like this. Maybe like
mine's just blocking it out.
Well, maybe it's something that, you know, like with Polybius, maybe it's something where somebody's been trying to hey Floyd, thank you for the bits, dude. I appreciate you. I appreciate the hell out of you, man. I'm thinking maybe it's something like where you oh man, Floyd got me all distracted. I forgot. I totally forgot what I was gonna say. You know what? It's worth it. We'll end it like that. Jesse, again, tell everybody where they can find you.
Perfectlycromulentjesse.com or Cromulent Jesse on all the social medias.
There you go, bud. Take your victory lap. You want another shot at the dunk?
Nope. I'll just fat guy sit in the chair and redeem myself next Tuesday when I wear sweats again.
Attaboy.
Can't believe I didn't wear sweats.
Yeah. I was a little shocked, but, you know, who am I to judge?
You got to shoot the J, though, before you go.
Where's the ball? What'd you do with it? Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah. This one's money. Cash money. Oh! Hey, there it is. Double redemption.
I'll just Tim Duncan that shit.
Double redemption. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. For more of that, follow me at HellaGreg. Visit hellagreg.com. I'm proud of us, but thank you. Stay wide awake the whole show. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That's how you know you did it right.
Damn right. All right, well, I appreciate everybody for being here. You guys are all amazing. You're special people. I appreciate you.
Bing, bang, boom. See you next Tuesday.
Don't say see you next Tuesday.